the videos I did initially. I'm so grateful for all those who shared them. And I pray that you continue to propagate the message of the Lord in your own way or another. And today I want to speak about fasting. Fasting because it's a very essential and important part of our Christian life that most people are ignoring. Christians of our age, even churches don't preach them anymore. Places of worship don't preach them anymore. Not because it's not important, but because they've lost sight of the importance of fasting. They have lost sight of the importance of fasting. And I want to talk about fasting and what it can do for us. First of all, I want us to bear in mind that great men before us, if we look back at the Bible, great men before us, they fasted. Great men before us, they fasted. Christ did fast. He fasted for 40 days. And he was tempted after that. And we all know what happened after that. When he was tempted, he was able to resist the devil. Why was he able to resist the devil? Because at that moment, he was paying more attention to his spirit than to his flesh. He was denying his flesh. So whatever the devil wanted to provoke him was flesh attributed. So it didn't get to him. Because at that instant, it is his spirit he was busy feeding. So he didn't pay attention to anything concerning the flesh. And we all know what happened. We all know what happened in Christ's ministry. We all know what happened. Christ's ministry prospered. It prospered and it went so well. He did so many miracles. He spoke so many wise. There's not a time that I open the Bible and I see something Christ said that did not make sense and did not wow me. It was always mind blowing, anything he said. And this is because one of the things that he used to begin ministry was to fast. What is fasting? Fasting is like denying yourself of something. Denying yourself of something that you think you cannot do without. And spending that time with God. Spending that time with God. What am I talking about? That's one of the reasons why food is used as a main aspect of fasting is because people the mind has been trained to think that we have to eat 3 times a day. So even if someone eats twice, the person starts thinking that they are not healthy. But if you can do without food, those 3 square meals a day, and spend that time with God, a week, 3 days, a month, 40 days, you are telling God that you are choosing him above your flesh. Secondly, when you are fasting, you are denying your flesh of its satisfaction, which is why fasting is not only of food, but anything that makes you spend more time with your flesh, anything that, so fast, you can fast from your phones because these days we can all see everybody is all obvious everywhere. People walking, pressing their phones in cars, pressing their phones in church, pressing their phones everywhere, pressing their phones. If you ask someone to be without their phone for even a day, it's like you're saying the most impossible thing ever. So what can somebody do? They can fast from their phones. So you decide you're not going to use your phone for a week, a month. You're fasting. And in place of that thing, I'm not telling you to do that and then sit there and be looking at God. No. In place of that, you spend that time with God. That's why we are told to fast and then pray. There is no important fasting. There's no where you can you fast and then not pray and think you're not fasting. You're on hunger strike. You're on hunger strike, or you're denying yourself of, I don't know what you're doing, but you're not fasting. So when this happens, when you deny your flesh, it's like you are not giving attention to your flesh. You are paying that attention to your spirit. So you are training your spirit man. So at that moment, you are more spirit inclined than flesh inclined. Okay. So when the Spirit of God ministers to you, because it's like you are synchronizing your spirit with the Spirit of God. So when the Spirit of God ministers to you, you are more prone to hear him. That is why people think, hey, when you fast, you get the answer immediately. Or fasting makes your answer come faster. No. Fasting makes you receive your answer faster. How does it happen? When you are not fasting, you just pray, but you are paying more attention to your flesh. So anytime you pray, God answers. The moment you pray, God answers. It's like, yes, no, wait. But when God answers, how do you know God has answered? If you are spirit inclined, immediately it drops in the spirit. You receive it because your spirit is awake. It's not asleep, it's awake. So that's what makes people think that when you pray, you get answered. You get answered. It's not like you get answered faster, but you receive your answer faster. You possess your answer faster. I don't know if you are getting what I'm trying to say. But when you are more flesh in tuned and the answer is delivered, you wouldn't even know. So you can't get the answer to your prayer and you're saying God has not heard you, God has not heard you, and you're praying to God. So look, listen, fasting is not a tool to use to squeeze God's hand. It is a process in a relationship, a walk with God. It's a process in a relationship, a walk with God. Okay. So when you are fasting, your spirit and God's spirit, they communicate. They communicate, making you even get closer to Him than you were before. Because you are more, because we all know as Christians we know that we are spirit beings with a physical. My pastor likes saying this, we are spirit beings with physical relevance. Spirit beings with physical relevance. So if you pay more attention to your spirit, you are feeding who you are. If you pay more attention to the flesh, you are feeding the lie. Because this flesh is just dust and to return back to dust. May the Lord favor us. May He give us grace to understand. May He make us understand that it is more important to develop a spiritual relationship with Him, hence manifesting into our physical beings, than feeding our flesh, which will only bring us doom. I pray for grace in our lives. I pray for the favor of God. I pray that we'll prosper in everything that we do and understand that more important than anything at all is our relationship and walk with God. I pray that the grace of God prospers in everything that we do.